When I was younger, I thought life was very simple. You study hard, you get good grades, you go to a good college, you get a good job, and then life becomes stable. That was the formula I believed in. That was the formula my parents believed in. That was the formula everyone around me believed in. And honestly, it made sense. I finished my high school, I did my undergraduate, finished my undergraduate in 3 years, went straight into a PhD, and now I have been in school for almost 8 years. Yes, 8 years. I still feel like life has not started yet. Not because I failed, not because I'm lazy, not because I made bad decisions, because I fell into what I now call the academic trap. And the worst part is most people who are studying right now are walking into the same trap and they do not even realize it. This video is for you if your whole life right now is studying to get a job. Not studying because you love learning, not studying because you are curious, studying because you think one day it will finally make life secure. When I was growing up, the idea was very simple. Education is the safest path. Education is a respectable path. Education is a path that guarantees success. Your parents sacrifice everything for you so that you can study. You feel like you cannot take risk. You feel like you cannot fail. You feel like you cannot choose something uncertain. So the only thing you do is you keep studying. High school, college, graduate school, maybe a master's, maybe a PhD, maybe a postdoc. And every time you think just one more step, then life will be stable. But the truth is the step never ends. There's always another degree, another exam, another application, another qualification, another requirement before you are finally allowed to live. And one day you wake up realizing that you spent your entire youth preparing for life but never actually living it. This realization hit me hard during my PhD. Not because I hate research, not because I hate science. In fact, I actually love what I do. But I started noticing something very, very strange. Everyone around me was extremely smart, extremely disciplined, and extremely hardworking. But nobody looked free. People were stressed about funding, stressed about visas, stressed about publication, stressed about getting a job, stressed about what happens after you get a job. And the scary part is this did not end after the PhD. Postdocs were stressed, professors were stressed, industry folks were stressed. And they started asking me this question that honestly scared the shit out of me. If all this studying is supposed to give us security, why does nobody feel secure? We are not just studying to learn, we are studying because we are afraid. Afraid of not getting a job, afraid of disappointing our parents, afraid of not having money, afraid of not having status, afraid of not knowing what else to do. So we stay in school longer because school feels safe. School gives structure, school gives identity, and school gives a clear path. Real life does not. And that is how the academic trap starts. The trap is not education itself. The trap is when education becomes the only thing you know how to do it. When your whole identity becomes, I'm a student, I'm a researcher, I'm preparing for something, instead of I am building a life. For me, this became very personal. I realized that if I keep following the default path, my life will look like this. Finish PhD, do a postdoc, try to get a job in industry or academia, maybe move to another country, maybe move again, maybe wait until my late 30s to feel stable. I ask myself honestly, do I actually want this life? Not the prestige, not the title, not what sounds good to other people. Do I want this life? And the answer was not clear, because when you spend your whole life studying, you only learn how to follow the next step. That is when I started changing the way I think. Instead of asking what job should I get after this, I started asking what kind of life do I actually want? Do I want time freedom? Do I want location freedom? Do I want to build things? Do I want to work for myself? Do I want a stable job? Do I want to live close to my family? Nobody asks these questions when you're studying. They only ask, what is your GPA? What is your major? What is your plan? What job will you get? And if you are not careful, you will design your career without ever designing your life. And that is the academic trap. Now, here is a part that I want to be very clear about. I'm not saying education is bad. Education gave me a lot. It gave me discipline, it gave me knowledge, it gave me opportunities, it gave me the chance to do a research I never imagined. But education should be a a tool, not a cage. The problem is many of us turn it into a cage without even realizing it. We keep studying because we think we are moving forward, but sometimes we are just delaying decisions. And this is why I started doing things outside academia. Not because I want to quit, not because I hate my field, but because I do not want my entire life to depend on this one path. I started making YouTube videos, I started writing online, I started learning business, I started thinking about multiple income streams, I started building systems for life. Not because I know exactly what will happen, but because I do not want to wake up at 40 and realize that I never gave myself a choice. If you are watching this right now and your whole life is studying to get a job, I want you to ask yourself this one question. Not what job you want, nor what degree you want, nor what your parents want. Ask yourself honestly, what kind of life do I want to live? Because if you do not answer that question, the system will answer it for you. And once you go too far down the path, it becomes very hard to turn around. If you are in college, you are not late. If you are in grad school, you are not late. If you are in a PhD, you are still not late. In fact, this is the best time to think about this because you still have time to build something else. You can study and build skills, study and build income, study and build network, study and build a life. You do not have to choose one. The real mistake is thinking that job will fix everything. It will not. Only clarity fixes that. And for me, this is still a journey. I'm still in grad school. I'm still figuring things out for myself. I do not have all the answers. But at least now I know one thing. I do not want to spend my whole life preparing for life. I want to live it while I build it. And if you feel the same way, then maybe you are not lost. Maybe you are just starting to see the trap. And once you see it, you can start designing your own path. And that is where you will actually begin.